You're welcome to Isaac Johnson School of Shoemaking. This is one of our shoemaking classes where we discuss and demonstrate in details how to identify and make certain types of shoes. In this series, we'll be discussing Adelaide shoes, Adelaide Oxford. We are going to be showing you every steps pertaining to how to make this shoe from pattern drafting till the very last stage where your shoe becomes just like this. So please sit back and enjoy the entire class. We have a lot packed for you. Thank you. You're welcome to Isaac Johnson School of Shoemaking, School of Shoemaking. This is our long-awaited Adelaide project, which is an extension to the Oxford project, the just concluded series. In this series, we are going to do an in-depth talk on Adelaide shoes. Of course, Adelaide Oxford, it's actually a type of Oxford. So what are Adelaide shoes? They are lace-up shoes, predominantly because they have laces, and what characterizes them is they possess somewhat U-shape facing. Now, the facing of any shoe, especially lace-up shoes, is the part that carries the lace. Now, in this case, this is the lace of the shoe. I believe as a shoemaker or someone that wears shoe, you should know what laces are by now. Those are the ropes we use to fasten the shoes. These ropes you see here, this rope you see here, yeah, you can see the rope here. Now, the part that carries the lace is called the facing. Now, Adelaide facings is usually almost U-shape, if not entirely U-shape. Actually, when Adelaide started, it started with U-shape, but because of fashion trend and modification of pattern, we now have them using so many shapes, right? But predominantly you see a shoe such as this with this this section, the facing, as a separate piece from the body. Now, in this case, it is a U shape somewhat. This is the part I'm talking about. Can you see it? Yeah, this is the U-shaped part in this shoe. You can see this is a Louis Vuitton design. You can see the U shape, right? So any shoe you basically see that has this U shape is an Adelaide shoe. You can see the same. If you can see this one closely enough, you see this brown one has this U shape facing. The same thing in the case of this shoe, it has a U shape facing. Also for this, you can see what we have here. Now, these are shoes from different shoemakers all over the world. This is an Adelaide. It has U shape right there, but because of modification and all, you can now have it to be somewhat bent or so. Now, usually Adelaide shoes always carry, I see this is an Adelaide shoe, right? It's an Adelaide shoe because of the makeup, but you see this is not an entirely U-shaped shoe. Because of trend and all, we now have it to be this way. It means you can actually do whatsoever it is that you would like to do, but just make sure that the facing is a different part of the entire of the shoe. Now, going back to the first one and the most basic one. Now, an Adelaide shoe, usually you'll see it with you'll see them with semi-brogue, and what we mean by semi-brogue is this: they have broguing around the edges, the U part of the shoe that makes it an Adelaide. You most likely see brogue around it. Then if it has a toe cap, like in this case, because not all Adelaides have toe caps, what makes the Adelaide an Adelaide is because of this piece of material, the facing, of course, the part that bears the lace is a different piece of material, and it is not like the regular way you have it in regular Oxford. Let me quickly fish out an Oxford shoe from here. All right, now this, all right, on this picture we have a series of shoes here. Right now, this is an Adelaide shoe. You can see this is a spectator Adelaide. It has the facing part to be white. All right, let me just point to it with this. It has the facing part to be white, while the body to be brown. Right now, it is entirely different from this, and it is entirely different from this. This is a derby shoe, and you see the way the facing of the derby shoe is. It's in the form of a quarter, like it's from the front, it extends to the back. That's what you always have quarter to be like. But in the case of an Adelaide, the facing just usually ends somewhere around the front, forming a U shape. So the emphasis is always on the U shape. Now in this case, this is an Adelaide also. Now you can see this is an Adelaide, but of course there's no toe cap here. But this is an Adelaide. You can see the U shape, of course, and there's a toe cap right here. This also is an Adelaide shoe, Adelaide Oxford, and you can see the toe cap right here. This is an Adelaide Oxford. It has no toe cap. So the thing with Adelaide is this: the vamp section, whether with toe cap or not toe cap or no toe cap, forms the rest part of the body of the shoe. Like in this case now, this, of course, this is the region we call the vamp of the shoe, whether there's a toe cap or no toe cap. Like in this case now, where there's a toe cap here, this is the vamp region, right? The vamp region always extends to the back without interruption. The only interruption you can have on the vamp is a what's it called it now, back counter. Like in this case now, all right, see the vamp region here. Of course, this is the toe cap, this is the vamp region. You can see it extends to the entire back, but in this case we have a counter. Of course, counter is a piece of material that covers the entire back of the shoe. Of course, in some shoes, not all shoes have counter. Now this is a counter. That's the only thing that can interrupt the vamp. Now the vamp forms the entire body in the manner of an no-cut. An no-cut shoe is a shoe without cut, no compartmentalization, no toe cap, no what's it called now, no quarter, no nothing. It's just one piece of material. So this ought to be like a piece of material from the front to the back, but with the U-shaped facing as a separate material. All right, okay, so it is more evident here. You can see from the entire front, the vamp system to the back is just one piece of material, right? The only other piece is the U-shaped Louis Vuitton, what's it called now, material right here that carries the lace. So that's basically what you see in Adelaide shoe. In this case, we have okay, let me just zoom out a bit. Now in this case, we have a toe cap with this should be an alligator skin, and the vamp extending towards the back and intercepted by the counter. This is a very beautiful piece of shoe, exotic material used. All right, let's use this now. Now usually you have brogues around the edge of the U-shaped facing. Now, like in the case of an Oxford shoe, one thing about Oxford shoe, of course, Adelaide is just like a sister to Oxford. They are almost alike, especially in the lacing system. Oxford shoes have closed lacing system. They usually have their vamp on top of the quarter. Now in the case of Adelaide shoe, in most cases, of course, there's no vamp, there's no quarter on Adelaide shoes. We only have the U-shaped facing. Just like the Oxford, you will have the vamp system on top of the U-shaped facing. Now looking at this part, you can see that this U-shaped facing is underneath the vamp system right here, just as the vamp is underneath the toe cap. Mind you, this front region of the shoe is called the toe cap. If you have not seen the video on how we compartmentalize shoes, or rather shoe anatomy, you should please see that, because of the terms we'll be using in our subsequent videos. Now, just as the way the toe cap here is on top of the quarter, or the vamp is on top of the facing, but with evolution and haul, we now have cases where the vamp is underneath the quarter, the facing. Now, of course, this is not a U-shaped facing. This is somewhat it's looking like a swan neck, sort of, but it's an Adelaide shoe, right? Now in this case, the facing is on top of the body, right? This is unusual, of course, but that doesn't mean it's not an Adelaide shoe, and that doesn't make it wrong, right? This is just what Gallins wants, and it's just quite okay. Now let's move on to the regular U shape. Now in this Asian shoemaker shoe, you can see the U shape is somewhat wide at the base, wider at the base and narrow at the top. This is absolutely the maker's choice. And the vamp system, now I refer to this entire part of the vamp system, is on top of the somewhat U-shaped facing. Now this is another Adelaide. Now, unlike the other Adelaide we've been seeing, you can see that the U-shaped facing is relatively smaller in this case. So that should tell you there's a flexibility to shoemaking. Every shoemaker has their own way they want to make their shoe, and it makes their shoe absolutely unique. In this case, the vamp system is on top of the tiny U-shape facing. Right now, I really want to consider this as an Adelaide shoe. The reason being that it has a huge U-shaped facing, and the entire vamp system also extends to the back, but then there's supposed to be an interruption here. The U-shaped facing is supposed to end somewhere around here, but of course the maker has made it extend to the back. So the maker probably has a name for this, but I just feel it's also an Adelaide shoe for the sake of the U shape, of course. Yeah, a closer view at what you want to see on Adelaide shoe: the U shape and the vamp system. Now, most of the time, like I said, you see brogue here. Adelaide usually are considered semi-brogue shoes. Reason being that you have brogue just at the edge and at the edge of the toe cap. But in recent days, just like this, okay, now this is a semi-brogue Adelaide shoe, Adelaide Oxford. You can see the U shape, and the brogue is just standing here and on top of the edge of the toe cap right here. Usually you will not see brogues, you will not see medallion on an Adelaide shoe, but of course, maker's guide, maker's wish, maker's whatever, you now see brogues on Adelaide shoes. Now this is an Adelaide shoe right here. You can see the U-shaped facing. It has no toe cap, of course, but it has medallion right here. Now this is also a form of, alright, this is not an Adelaide shoe, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, the cutting is not very clear. This is a separate piece of material from this part. Now you can see the facing right here, you can see the brogue right here, but you can also see the medallion sitting right here, so making that definition of Adelaide to be somewhat crazy that they are semi-brogues. Now this is a medallion here. Anytime you see a medallion on the shoe, it's most likely a full brogue, because of course you have medallion everywhere, you have broguing everywhere. Now this is another thing. Apart from the regular toe cap, you can have wingtip on your Adelaide shoe. Once your shoe has this U-shaped, then you can do whatever you want with the rest of the body. Of course, there should be no cutter on the body, but you can have wingtip, you can have canter, you can have toe cap and hole on your shoe. Now all these ones, they are semi-brogues because you only have broguing around here and nowhere else. Now this is an Adelaide shoe without a toe cap nor a wingtip, but of course it has a counter at the back right here. So that is basically what an Adelaide shoe looks like. Now this is the strange one right here, an Adelaide shoe but reverse setting. Usually the vamp system should be on top of the U-shape, what's it called now, facing, but in this case the maker of this shoe has brought the, what's it called now, the facing on top of the vamp system, right? And you can also see it extend running towards the back of the shoe, right? Yeah, you can see it running towards the back. Of course it got to the back of the shoe, so you can really do anything you want with your shoe these days. The only thing that will happen is your shoe might end up becoming less formal than usual, right? Now this is a crazy one. You basically see that this is an Adelaide shoe. Now we have I don't know what to call this, but it's kind of similar to a back counter, right? Of course the back counter, and let's just call it an extended back counter, it's almost at the front and it has this V shape to not a wingtip. Now it's looking like a V-shaped toe cap sort of, and of course the Adelaide badge here. And one funny thing about this shoe is the lacing is quite more like zigzag. You can see one here, up down up down up down, you know, so that should tell you how flexible you can be with your shoe. Shoemaking is really absolutely interesting. You can do whatever you want to do. Now this is an Adelaide and it has no brogue, of course, and the U shape is not really U like that. You can see it's coming and it's very sharp here and here, so you can really design it however you want to design it. It's usually on you to choose what to do with your pattern. Now this is what an Adelaide shoe is not. Now this is an Oxford shoe. You see the vamp. This is the vamp. It runs normally and ends by the side of the shoe, just like in normal vamp, and you see the quarter here. After the vamp you have the quarter, of course, then the counter. Now for Adelaide shoe, this vamp here will extend to follow here and the entire back of the shoe, like in this case, right? You can see in this case we have this little piece of, now this is not U shape actually, this is more like a jar I don't know but it's quite, let's just say it's U like anyway. Now you can see the vamp here, it covers this entire region. This entire region is absolutely covered, unlike here you can see the vamp coming here and the vamp is not here. So this is not an Adelaide shoe, it's an Oxford shoe. This is an Adelaide shoe. You can see the entire vamp coming up to form the body of the shoe. You can see this is a wingtip and Adelaide shoe. See the vamp. So basically the vamp also, any shoe that you see the vamp that is as high as this by the side should be an Adelaide shoe. This is a spectator Adelaide shoe. You can see the vamp running up, the U shape, regular U shape spectator are facing there, and the toe cap here is more like, you know, designed. It has this spiky center that wants to make it look like a wingtip. Now whenever you see a shoe like this, it's absolutely no other shoe than an Adelaide shoe. Full characteristics of Adelaide: it's a semi-brogue. There's no broguing, there's no holes on the top of the shoe, right? No medallion. It has a regular U shape, although this is wider and the top is narrow. It has a counter, it's not necessary. It has a toe cap, which is not necessary. It has closed lacing system like its sister Oxford, and the vamp extend up. You see, all this region is the extension of the vamp, is continuous with the vamp. So that's one thing that makes Adelaide shoes, right? I think we've exhausted some things we have here. Now there are other designs of Adelaide shoes, like in this case, you see, for this type now, this little part is the facing. It's on top of the vamp system. You can see the stitches. It's not brogue. Okay, it's semi-brogue. It has some brogue here, and it has a medallion sitting right there. This was once a project. Alright, this is another regular. Now see the shape of this one. You want to say this is U shape, but it's actually not U shape. It's just somewhat like a butterfly sort of, but it's an Adelaide shoe, right? You can see the vamp at the top, right? It's an Adelaide shoe. So they were once Adelaide project, and this is where we're drawing the pattern. Now in this project we are going to draw an Adelaide pattern from beginning to the end. Of course, we are going to interpret it. We are also going to do a step-by-step series on how to cut the material, couple the material, clicking actually, then to the level where we are done preparing the upper of the material. Then we last the shoe, of course, also fully covered. Then we attach the sole. For this case, of course, your Adelaide shoe, like every other shoe, can be a Goodyear welted shoe, or a shoe with Blake stitches, or a cement sole shoe. So this one typically is a cement sole shoe. We are going to glue the sole to the shoe. So this is the first stage. We are going to move on to the next stage, which is drafting the pattern. Of course, there is literally no part that will be skipped in this video, but for some reasons, some parts might have been explained in some other videos, which we are going to make available as an attachment to this course, like how to brogue. So we have a video on, we have an extensive video on how to brogue. So we probably may not brogue our shoe inside the video, of course, if our project is a brogue shoe. Our project is somewhat like this. Now this is the project we want to do. It's just a regular Adelaide shoe, semi-brogue. You can see the U-shaped facing right here. It has a toe cap and there's a counter behind it. So this is more like our project. We also most likely might do a patina on it at the end of the making of the shoe, right? So we have a video on how to brogue extensively, so we might not be broguing inside the material, inside the video. Also, I think that's just all. Every other step will not be skipped, will be covered, and the video for how to brogue will also be made available alongside this video. So this is just the introductory part to our Adelaide project. This is not the only one. There are several others that are going to come alongside, so you just sit back and enjoy your class. I just hope I've done a bit of quality introduction to the Adelaide series, so along the line you don't end up confused, right? And if there's any part you find so difficult, of course we are going to make sure every part is very clear and easy. But if you find any part difficult or dicey, you can watch again and again, follow each step accordingly. When you are drawing your pattern, make sure you use your pencil so that you can always erase. And the good news is the pattern we are drawing in this video is also going to be made available. So if you are seeing this video right now, you probably have access to the pattern also. So for this case, we are drawing a size 45 Adelaide shoe. That is our sample shoe. That is our project in this Adelaide series. So when we are done, we are going to have the pattern released to you in a format that you'll be able to print and use on your own, or you can just use it to compare the pattern that you are going to draw on your own. So thank you, and do have a wonderful time enjoying the Adelaide series. Isaac Johnson once again, thank you.